You know who else is in some pain today? This old rich guy that's got a big yacht, right?
Guy's looking for glory hole.
Oh, exactly.
And none
nothing
there.
There ain't no glory there right now. He's a little mad. He's probably more miserable than you this morning.
And fortunately, we were right. We both were right. Yeah. And most of us picked the 49ers last night. But it comes down to a point that I have stolen from you that you've made, and it's absolutely right. It's raw physicality, and that's the only way to beat the Cowboys. You have to match their physicality or exceed their physicality.
Yeah.
And that was a game last night. I mean, they were hitting. And the Cowboys hit and the 49ers hit. But when you hit the Cowboys back the way that the Cowboys are used to hitting other people,
that's right.
That's the way that you break them.
Yeah.
And they broke them last night.
That's right. We've had a lot of good combos about this over the last 2 or 3 years, right? I mean, the physicality of the 49ers, the Cowboys are used to being the fastest physical team on the field, right? Oh, no, it's the 49ers. We talk about matchups all the time, right? A matchup league. Right, and the 49ers are a tough matchup for the Cowboys because they can match their speed and they're bigger on both sides of the football. And then I'd go a step further to go, and they're better coached, right? I mean, I know he's my buddy and all, but for my money right now, Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in football. Him or Andy Reid are on a pedestal, I think, by themselves right now. So they got a lot of things going there. Now, I thought that Dallas, because of the way they lost the last 2 times, right, that I didn't expect 42-10. That's what I'll say. But I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing the best 49er team that Shanahan has had in his little short stint or medium stint here with the 49ers to this point, where you look at them right now and go, where is the weakness? What don't they do well? And, I mean, last night was a complete 4-quarter butt whooping on both sides of the ball.
I feel like they resolved at some point. I may have mentioned this to you before. Jason Garrett and I were talking about this last night back on the way to the hotel after we were done. The 49ers have decided that they're going to leave no doubt this year. There's not going to be any close losses.
I think that's
There's not going to be any.
I think that's the mantra.
There's not going to be any rabbit that Patrick Mahomes is going to pull out of his ass if that's who they face in the Super Bowl. They're not going to be.
They want Philly
10.
at home.
Yeah.
Everything that goes along with what you're saying.
They're not going to be up 10 with 7 minutes left. They're going to be up 24 with 7 minutes left. It's going to be boring. It's going to be Super Bowl 29 if they get there. That they have decided that it's too hard to thread needles. And most teams that are winning championships in today's NFL are threading needles.
Yeah.
They are breaking needles. And they're just saying, here's the thread. We're off we go. This is who we are. And last night was an example of that because they faced an elite team. It was a playoff type feel. It was a big game feel, and they showed up and they kicked their ass. Now, will they be focused in the other moments?
Yeah.
When it isn't a great team.
Right.
Where do they find that motivation? But I think that that's the mantra this year. Leave no doubt, take no prisoners, no close games, especially in the big games. Look, they've scored 30 or more every single game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. I mean, I think it started a little bit with the offseason talk when we heard Debo talking about the Eagles right before training camp and in training camp. I think it showed you there was a chip on their shoulder from the way that season ended. I think the way the last 2 seasons ended. I think, 2 years in a row, I think the 49ers walked off the field and thought, hey, we were better than the Rams, and they got us today, and we were better than the Eagles, and our quarterback got hurt. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. That's what they believe. But I think the thing, too, that is different about them this year, we know the defense is good. Steve Wilks is continuing to impress, and he's kind of taken in that 49er system there with a little wrinkles of his own. And then I think where it's different than the other years is Shanahan's got a quarterback that he trusts. So the pressure of, wait, I like this play on 2nd and 7, but I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo right here to do the right thing, or he's having one of those days where it's a lot of brain farts, right, Mike, that we would make fun of, or dumb interceptions. He doesn't have that at quarterback right now, let alone he's got weapons that to play with, and starting with McCaffrey, where he puts you in a bind in the running game, and that's where Dallas was in deep crap last night. And you're watching these highlights here, Dallas has to overcommit to stop the run against the 49ers. And then Dallas likes to rely on their pass rush and their DBs to play man-to-man and do all that. But, hey, with the play-action pass, as good as the O-line is of the 49ers, and, of course, their weapons, man-to-man is hard down the field for a period of time and as far as Purdy is protected. So that's where I think the 49ers are different, that they're a real juggernaut on the offensive side of the ball this year.
And you've got a great array of talented skill position players who are willing to wait their turn.
Do whatever, right?
George Kittle waited his turn,
Yeah,
and he
right.
got 3 touchdown catches last night. Purdy had 4 touchdown passes. I'm glad about something I heard you say last night, because this came up, I believe, on Thursday. You and I didn't get a chance to discuss it. Kyle's disdain for the reference to Brock Purdy as a system quarterback. I mean, that's not the same as calling a guy a game manager.
Yeah.
He is a system quarterback.
Yeah.
He runs Kyle's system. That's
The
what Kyle's been
perfection.
looking for.
Right.
The system calls for this throw.
Right.
Brock Purdy makes it. He calls for that throw. Brock Purdy makes it. It calls for that read, that decision. Brock Purdy does it right. He finally has that joystick quarterback,
Exactly
that guy
right.
that runs the offense exactly the way that Kyle wants it to be run. That's what Rex Grossman said. I'll never forget this. After the lockout in 2011, hey, Rex, do you think you're going to win the starting job in Washington? Yes. You know why? Because I'm going to run the offense exactly the way Kyle Shanahan wants it to be run.
Right.
And that's what Brock Purdy does. And that's what he finally has. And that was the missing piece. That was the area where they had, through their own fault, whether it was not scouting Patrick Mahomes, saying no thank you to Tom Brady, trusting Jimmy Garoppolo when they shouldn't have, trusting Trey Lance when they shouldn't have, and I still feel bad for Trey Lance the way everything happened, but now they've got the guy that they need.
Yeah.
And now that was the missing piece. They've got a team made up of a bunch of roughnecks who will roll out of bed and kick your ass. They've got guys who can run the ball. They've got guys who can catch the ball. And now they have a guy that they can trust to throw the ball under all circumstances as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know, what is so bad about
And if
us-
he gets injured, they got Sam Darnold.
Well,
Who will
exactly.
be almost as good.
Yeah, agreed. And that's what I was trying to make the point of last night on Football Night in America. Is a system guy for some reason has got a negative connotation around it. To me, the negative one is what you said, game manager. That's when you go, wait, he's a game manager because we're managing him, and then therefore he's kind of managing things on the field a little bit, but we don't just open the playbook and go.
Zach Wilson,
right?
game manager.
Yeah,
Brock Purdy, system quarterback.
right.
But it's not a pejorative. It's not a negative.
No, I look at, I go, well, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to me was the greatest system quarterback ever. I don't know. I grew up watching Joe Montana work the West Coast offense to perfection. Oh, his steps are perfect. Oh, on the second hitch, he's onto the second read. All that. I don't know. Is that not system? So, that's where I think it's not fair that way. And to your point, there's a talent in having a guy. Not everybody can just listen to a guy like Shanahan and take in all the offense and the information and, hey, the checks and all the things I'm telling you to think about before the ball snapped. And then, hey, when the ball snapped, I gave you another 4 clues on what to look for here. And so there's great talent in that. And that's where Brock Purdy is really special. And everybody needs a little system to a degree. I mean, the guys that don't need a system in the history of football are almost on one hand. I mean, we're talking about Elway, who, he could get to the Super Bowl, but guess what? He didn't win 2 Super Bowls until he got a system with Shanahan, right? Brett Favre, Peyton Manning probably didn't need it. Mahomes, Allen, it's those kind of guys that, even on the average system, they can make it look pretty damn good. But everybody else, for the most part, listen, Brady, great arm, unbelievable. He was like this, but he was like Brock Purdy on steroids, right? I could take all the coaching points from Belichick and McDaniels, and I can put it out on the field, and I'll make the right decisions and the right throw. It's not a bad thing. And he's kicking ass right now. And Shanahan's kicking ass. Shanahan and what they got going there in San Francisco, like you said, you could tell there's a real drive for something bigger than just being 4-0, 5-0, whatever they are right now. Super Bowl is in their, front mirror, or what do I want to say, in their windshield? What would
It's
you say
on the
there?
radar screen.
Radar screen.
Other
That's where I
cliches.
wanted to go.
But it's not go to the Super Bowl and have a close, exciting, interesting game. We're going to be very bored. If the 49ers win the Super Bowl, we're going to be very bored in the second half. Not quite to the extent, and I remember Super Bowl 24, Broncos, 49ers, and it's like, well, this is going to be a great game.
Oh,
It's
I know.
like, it was
Damn,
over.
the
It was-
second quarter, you
But
were like, whoa.
Look,
Right?
that is what you have to do to Patrick Mahomes. And Kyle Shanahan knows that. You can't let him hang around. You got to be up by 24 points in the fourth quarter. And even then, you're not completely safe. Maybe you got to be up 30 points in the fourth quarter if you can make it happen. And they've got the physicality, they've got the skills to make it happen. Let's hear from Kyle Shanahan talking about his system quarterback, which we think is a good thing. For some reason, he doesn't in Brock Purdy.
He was really good. Everybody was pretty good. But Thought he missed one throw throughout the day, from what it seemed like. Just a little behind BA in the first quarter on one, and everything else seemed pretty flawless. He did a great job versus a real good pass rush, some tight coverages. Guys gave him some time, and also the guys made a lot of plays too.
7 different receivers catching passes from Brock Purdy. The most yards were 67 for George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk with 58, Deebo Samuel with 55. The numbers, when you look statistically, are not eye-popping. Nobody had over 100 yards.
No.
Christian McCaffrey had 51 on 19 carries, but the defense and
Exactly.
you know,
It's the team, the complete team
Right.
thing. They suffocate you on both sides, and their defense gets good field position.
you don't need 100
You don't
yard
need
rusher.
100. Exactly right. Because we got the ball at the 48-yard line, and now we're going to score in 3 or 4 plays, and that's how the game kind of started, right, Mike? It was a good drive. Then they got the ball at the 38-yard line. George Kittle, trick play, boom, touchdown. Hey, it's 14-0. Uh-oh, now you're going to have to start throwing on us every play, and it all starts to snowball downhill after that.
Micah Parsons was, after the first couple of weeks, no-brainer defensive player of the year,
Yeah.
maybe even MVP. We had that conversation. Now we got to put Fred Warner in the discussion for defensive player of the year. I mean, you've got an opportunity to compare apples to apples in the same game. Micah Parsons swallowed up by the 49ers
Yeah.
for the most part. Fred Warner, unstoppable. Forced fumble, sack, interception. There was that one play where he was covering Brandon Cooks down the field.
He's amazing. I know. It's all the time. What they ask him to do, he is the best stand-up linebacker in the game, right? I mean, he has been for really the last 2 or 3 years, but, you know, has all that physicality and no hesitation that we talk about in the run game. And then, yeah, can run with elite tight ends and receivers down the field and be comfortable 40 and 50 yards down the field against a Brandon Cooks. You know, we saw him make a pick last year running down the middle of the field on Dak Prescott one time. So, yeah, he's special. You know, I don't know if he'll have enough sexy stats to ever win that award. It's hard as an off-the-ball linebacker because you need to force a lot of fumbles and get interceptions like that, right? You don't get the sack attempts and all those chances there, but I think everybody's seeing how special he is and how special their front seven is in general. I mean, the guy next to him is a stud in Greenlaw, and of course we know the rest of that defensive line is really good. The 49ers are, just absolutely phenomenally coached on both sides of the football. And then they have the grit and toughness that you don't usually see from a creative football team. I think that's what makes them interesting. And to your point, too, it's not like it's like, oh, wow, 421 yards against the Cowboys is damn impressive. But it's the way they spread out the wealth. So you can never – it's hard to, in a game like yesterday, to pinpoint, wait, who are they featuring? Who are they going after? See, they featured McCaffrey so hard the first 4 weeks. This is where they are awesome, and then they get in a game like this and they go, oh, you're worried about McCaffrey? You're worried about McCaffrey? Oh, here's Deebo, here's Kittle, and all these other things, and they break it out, and Shanahan plays that off of the McCaffrey thing, and that's where he's really brilliant. And, this is one I look at and just go, I don't know. The more you look at it, and if the Cowboys lost like that last night, I look at it and go, this is the Cowboys to beat the 49ers. If they play them again, is going to have to take something miraculous, take the Cowboys, with egg on their face. I mean, the 49ers with messing up, egg on their face, something like that.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.